What makes an artist is the hunger to learn and not what he knows. I've never heard anyone describe being an artist that way, and then I did this interview with Akhil Raj. Akhil Raj is a writer, cinematographer, director, and a really cool dude. This interview is one of the most insightful, most inspiring interviews I've personally done so far, and I can't wait to rewatch this many decades later when Akhil Raj is a household name. In this interview, he talks about his journey, finding a balance between finances and art, and the importance of an audience, and most importantly, becoming an artist. Nervous at all?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me your name and what you do.
My name is Akhil Raj and I'm a cinematographer.
How long have you been doing this?
Okay.
Cinematography.
I guess from 9th standard. So how many years is that? I think 7 years.
How did you get started?
Okay, this is gonna be good. My ex, she kindly liked photography, and so I want to impress her, and that's how I started with photography. And then, as I started to learn about it, I kinda
Enjoyed the process?
yeah, and then slowly, left the photography scene and then started doing videos. And
When you say you were learning photography and learning cinematography, were there any particular resources you used? How did you learn?
actually just trial and error. I had a friend whose camera I had borrowed for some time, and then I used that camera to shoot several stuff, and then slowly by using several friends' cameras, I started to learn the specifics of how to make a film.
Do you remember was there any one particular shoot or something that made you recognize yourself? Okay, like now I'm a photographer. Now I feel like a photographer, because I feel like a lot of the time you pick up a camera and you're not sure. Okay, can I call myself a photographer yet, or a videographer? How did you get to that point?
No, I never had that doubt.
You were always like.
Once you start working, you have this hunger for more knowledge, and I think that's the point when you know that I guess I can call myself a cinematographer, a photographer now, because that crave for knowledge is essentially what makes you an artist rather than knowing it.
I mean, you're definitely steeped in the film culture of Cochin. So, how did you get into that? How did you get into films from the beginning, and what do you have to say about the film culture in Cochin?
As a kid, when I was in my 11th standard or 10th, I guess, I started watching a lot of mindfuck movies.
Like what?
Triangle, then what was that other? Coherence.
How did you get into meeting people here, getting into the
Okay, so this one day, this random dude called Sauro Suresh texts me on Facebook saying, "See, I am a friend of Alan Tom's and I need an editor to edit my film. It's called Dope," and then he was like, "I want to make this film, and so could you be the editor?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And I went there, and they were all clueless, so was I, but then I pretended like I knew everything.
How long ago was this?
Okay, I don't know.
Before pandemic?
Yeah, definitely before pandemic.
2018?
How about 15?
2015?
Yeah, 15, 14 years. Yeah.
And you've lived in Cochin all your life? Or?
Yeah, been in Kochi.
Which part of Cochin?
Elamakara.
How have you seen Cochin change in the past 15, 20 years that you've been aware of it?
Oh, it's changed a lot. At first I used to stay near the place that's exactly opposite to Oberon Mall. It's called Anjumana. Yeah, so I used to stay there, and then I've seen how the highways, before and all, the highway that connects Kochi to Alua, it wasn't that big. It was pretty small, and it wasn't the places that was next to the highway wasn't that developed. So, and during this period, I've seen that change personally, because my grandmother's place got acquired by the government to enhance the highway. So yeah, that's a lot of history, and I've seen how the malls pop up, Kochi changing slowly. But
which was the biggest mall when you were growing up?
Oberon,
that's Oberon, bigger than Bay, right? Bay Pride was first and then Oberon.
Yeah, but then I didn't consider Bay Pride like a mall because it doesn't.
It was like a market.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the film scene here, is there anything particular you would like to see changing? Any particular direction you want to see it evolve? And how have you seen it evolve in the past 5 years?
So before and all, like at least I used to consider like there used to be separate groups here. Like I think there is still separate groups of people who are working. Before me and Saurav, we used to work on like just when it's Saurav's film, it's just used to be us from First Pawn Films. But then things have changed a lot now. So like now instead of seeing everyone else as competition, you start to see them as a community, and suddenly everyone's trying to help each other, and it's much more how do I say this, it's more fun to make more films. Like
before there was always like a competitive
vibe. But
how
now
do you think that changed?
I don't know. I guess just talking to one another, like before, when it's like when you get that competition kind of mindset in your head, even when you're discussing films with with someone else, you sort of say that in a bragging mindset, I guess. Like I
impress them.
Yeah, but now it's asking for help. How do I approach this, and how do I change this and make it much more better? And I guess that's how the process changed.
How did you get into cinematography as opposed to photography? Like, what about cinematography excites you more than photography?
In a photograph, you just get to see a glimpse of that moment, and in cinematography, you get to be in that moment. Like, you get to see how I reached that certain frame, and how what changes after I reach that certain frame. So yeah, that's
and what's your general thought process behind working on a film or doing cinematography for anything, whether that's like a tiny reel or like if it's a movie? Is there like a thought process that you have when you're
No, I treat everything the same way. Like, I put my heart into it. Like, I don't know how to distinguish from a reel or a what do you call it, a proper film. I try to make it as much as better, or the best version it can be, but then sometimes I fail. So
how do you measure that failure versus success? How do you know when you've achieved what you want to achieve?
When people are talking about it, I guess. Like,
so it's an external thing?
And not necessarily, but then like you get this at the same time, when people are starting to recognize your work, you get this obviously we all have that what do you call it, internal like in Malayalam. I'll just switch to Malayalam. Sorry. Yeah, so ഈ പടം എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞത്തേക്ക് നമുക്കൊരു സന്തോഷം ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ, ലൈക്ക് ഒരു ഫൈനൽ പ്രൊഡക്റ്റ് ആയി. അത് പോരാണ്ട് that's one thing, and then other than that, when people are talking about it, you know that you're getting recognized. At least people are like I believe that a film should be able to speak to its audience. Like, you shouldn't make a film just because you want it. Like
it should be self-indulgent.
Yeah,
it should be for
someone else. So when you are like communicating properly, that's only when you achieve that success, I guess.
Okay.
So that's a huge factor for me. Like,
but how much do you think of a film is you, and how much of it is the audience that you're considering, and how do you find that balance?
That's a really good question. I guess 25% you, 25 to 35% you, but then 75.
So you have to consider, but you also have to consider type of audience. This is the kind of audience.
See, the thing is, if you put the like if you want not make a film that completely serves your audience, I guess you have to make something that is very generic. But then there's a sweet spot there where like you have to make it rooted and true to yourself. Like, there should be that some kind of thing that gives you a hook that makes your film genuinely unique, but at the same time it should be relatable to everyone.
Should be accessible.
Yeah.
Okay. So for somebody who's getting into film, who's getting into wanting to make things, how do you recommend going about that? Does gear matter? How do you get started? What resources do you recommend?
I guess any DSLR should be enough. I mean, not DSLR, like any camera should be enough to start. But then once you're growing, you start to notice that, you start to be exposed to more stuff around you that's happening. Like you get to know that the technology around is constantly evolving, and so you'll start to want to work with more gear. But then the availability of that gear is depends on how well you are of financially. So like I said, if you have enough rich friends, you have good cameras to work with, or else then
what if you don't have rich friends? What if you don't have access to that equipment? What do you do? Like, how can you go about
make something with what you have? I've made a film with OnePlus Nord, not me, but then I was part of the process. Saurav and Rohit, they had made a film with just a OnePlus Nord. So
gear
doesn't matter.
And if you could, I know you watch a lot of movies and you're a film buff, so if you could have done the cinematography for any one movie that exists, whether that's Hollywood, Bollywood or Mollywood, whatever, pick one movie. Which movie's cinematography do you wish you had done?
Chennai.
Oh, why?
Because how do I say this? I really like the story. So it's the kind of aesthetic that I try to bring into my films. So and they have really pulled it off. When you take the story or direction or anything, you can if you pick out anything from the film, it will just stand out on its own. And I think it's a well-made film. Vadachennai. So
are there any directors you wish you want to work with in the future, or any actors you dream of working with?
Oh, actually I have a list of...
You have a list?
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Wait. The list, I try to keep a list of things I want to do, even small ideas,
okay. You have it in your phone.
To do list. No, crew, shoot. Wait, where is that list?
Off the top of your head.
Samudragani. I really like his work.
Is a director?
No, he's an actor. Find his acting very fascinating, and of course Fahad Fasil. Who doesn't want to work with him? Then I guess Dhanush. At some point I want to work with him. I really like his choice of stories he wishes to tell. So yeah.
In the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, where is Akhil Raj going to be and what is he going to be doing?
Oh, you don't want to know. Trust me, you don't want to know. Because this is going to be a dull ending for a movie. Because right now I'm at a phase where I have to decide between if I have to make my be financially secure or follow my dreams. So and right now my decision is to have a balance of both of them, but then it's really tough because right now what I'm doing is I'm working in films for free. I don't charge in Saurav can vouch for me, he hasn't paid me yet. So so it's not how do you say this, when you want to feel financially secure and you want to fulfill your dreams, it doesn't work that way. Sometimes you have to make a choice, but some people find that sweet spot, where you can do the thing that you love and make money from it, but then at the same time there will be pressure from societies. Even my mom just today she said, she told me that you should be working on a coding job or as a software engineer, because I have a BCA degree, and she's saying, why have you wasted all your years on this when you have nothing to show for?
Do you believe that? Do you believe you have nothing to show for?
No, I don't believe that I have nothing to show for, but then I don't want to strike up a conversation where I have to antagonize her and tell her. Okay,
but if finances weren't a problem, if that wasn't if that wasn't an object of like stopping you, what's like your biggest ambition, your wildest dreams? Where do you want to be in like 20 years? What do you see yourself doing?
I see
Like if you knew you couldn't fail, what would you do?
I'll make films. Definitely make films. I want to direct and I want to write. Cinematography is like.
And in Kerala only, you want to go abroad, or do you want to work in a?
I want to stay in Kerala actually. Like, see, like I said before, it's your films only work when they are rooted. So, what better way to make films than stay in your own industry and you know the people here, you know the language, you know the culture here. So, why would you opt to go somewhere else and put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to make films when you have enough and more stories to be told here?
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. What do you hope to see in Cochin's culture in the coming few years? Like, what do you wish to see more of? What do you wish to see less of?
More pubs.
More pubs? Okay.
Yeah, you know how Kochi is. We don't have pubs here. So. I'm kidding. Yeah, so more community.
Okay.
Yes.
And less of?
I don't know. I don't want anything to be less of. I guess Kochi is being more urbanized.
Okay. And does that make you feel a certain way?
I mean, there are small patches of green here and around there, like, Mangalavanam. Yeah. And then there's places near Kalamasheri and Alua and all, where you get that small glimpse of what Kochi used to be. But then,
do you miss that Cochin more than the present day Cochin?
I like a balance between both. Like I don't want to segregate,
old and new.
Yeah, but then there should be a steady graph of,
And if there's one thing you could bring back from old Cochin, what would it be?
More greenery. I see the trees here. Like,
yes.
Yeah. So even they cut down the trees near Changamula Park and all. Remember? You don't.
I've been there.
Yeah. So there used to be this huge tree leaning over. What is the bakery's name called? There used to be this Appupan with this huge sadi who used to make snacks near Changamula Park. He passed away recently. So there was this tree, huge tree that is leaning over both the road and Changamula Park, and its canopy used to cover the whole place. And after school and all, I used to come there and eat snacks with my friends and chill there. And now it doesn't feel the same. Like,
if you were speaking to Akhil when he just started out making things like photography, whether it was to impress a girl or whatever, what advice would you give to him?
Okay, so don't go behind girls. Just stay true to yourself and try to, instead of trying to fake it, just find your voice and try to amplify that instead of faking it.
Thank you, Akhil Raj.
Okay.
That was wonderful. Yay!
Oh shit! I just got it the list.
Oh yeah?
Bobby Simha, Rahman, Biju Menon, Vinayakan, Fasil Prithviraj, Saubin Shire, Nevin Polly, Shobina, Andrea, Vineet Srinivasan, Dulquer Salman, Mammootty, Kamal Hassan, Dhanush, Samudrakani, Parvati, Shane Nigam, and Radhika Apte, Vijay Sethupathi, R. Madhavan, Dilesh Pothan, Jyoti George, Suraj Venyarmodu, Srinal Basri, Vinay Fort, Asif Ali, Lal, Tovino Thomas, Sudhit Shankar, Jackie Shroff, Sai Deena, Manju Vaidya, Leona Desai, Manoj Bajpayee, Pankaj Tripathi, Kanika Sudhi, Sharafuddin, Rajesh Sharma, Renji Panikar, Pratap Pothan, Nalin Kumar, Srinivasan, Padma Priya, Chamba Vinod Jose. Hello, Paranjalo. Yeah. Yeah, the flow and Madi,